The following Four Corners contains coarse language and some violent scenes.
This was the scene at Cronulla in Sydney on December the 11th last year. Nobody organised this rally, but the following text message had been sent to hundreds of mobile phones. This Sunday, every fucking Aussie in the Shire get down to North Cronulla to help support Leb and Wog Bashing Day. Bring your mates down and let's show them that this is our beach and they're never welcome back. 5,000 people turned up. Do you think people were looking for a fight?
Oh, definitely, yeah. There was a lot of people looking for a fight there.
Get this no swing back here for your bitch!
That night and the following night, under the cover of darkness, carloads of angry young men drove from the western suburbs to the beaches in and around Cronulla, smashing, bashing and stabbing. Do you feel bad about going down there at all?
No, I don't feel bad.
Why not?
Because I want to get a revenge. Tonight, a confronting Four Corners. The inside story of Cronulla and the aftermath, told by those who were there for the riot and revenge. Cronulla, the locals will tell you, is the most beautiful of Sydney's city beaches. A long curved stretch in the southern Sutherland Shire with regular rolling surf. It's also the most accessible to the southwestern suburbs of Sydney, with a direct train line to the beach. Got the surrounding suburbs like Bankstown, Hurstville, Lakemba, they're all west and they're also connected by the train line that goes into Cronulla. Also that's their local beach as well. And like pretty much out there, it's a lot of Middle Eastern culture. It's definitely, there's a lot of Middle Eastern people out there, from Lebanon, wherever.
Mark's group of friends are all from the Shire, born and bred.
Oh no, look at this stuff. It's terrible.
They got the SMS about bashing a Leb and a Wog Day, and all of them went along. They want to talk about why they went, but they've asked us not to use their real names. They're afraid of retribution, baffled and defensive, because people have called them racist.
We can't make a call on it because we get branded racists, and that's why the media and a lot of other things have a lot to be responsible for.
I'd go to work and told people that I went to it, and they're like, "Oh, you're a racist person," which is not the fact at all.
I'm not a racist person at all. Nothing against them, but they're always down there to cause fights.
They forget that they moved here and they brought the culture with them, and they've got to adapt to our culture.
Oh, stop it!
There have been turf wars for decades on Cronulla Beach between locals and outsiders about who owns the beach. But Mark and his friends say this time it's different.
Hey!
Because they say the Lebs are different. They pose a threat.
The religious side of it is definitely a big part. The way they're brought up and the way we're brought up. Just the way the morals our parents teach us and the morals their parents teach us are completely different.
What's different about the way they're brought up?
I think it's got to do a lot with respect for women.
I can't go to the beach normally and wear what I'd usually wear, because when I do, I feel as though I'm getting targeted. Like people saying to me, like just names and stuff that I'm being called for wearing a bikini in my own show. Like, I've grown up here and I'm local at the beach, and I just don't think I should feel like that. It's just been getting worse and worse and worse.
Sarah's boyfriend, Mark, is concerned because he thinks that under Muslim law, it's okay to rape. He's wrong and confused about a pack rape case 4 years ago, where the ringleader was Lebanese-Australian Bilal Scuff.
I don't know if you remember, but when they were being tried in the court, they wanted him to be tried in an Islamic court. Do you remember that? No, yeah, because they wanted him to be tried under Islamic law, because they were saying that that's okay to do that to a woman.
To rape someone?
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
I want government to stop the growing threat, and I want them to stop appeasing Islam and to stop appeasing people that follow Islam.
They'll probably possibly outbreed us, and once they get the numbers, they can vote their members into Parliament. And once their members are in Parliament, they can pass laws like we've already tried to get the Islamic law into Australia a few times.
Are you concerned that this could become an Islamic state?
Yeah, definitely.
New South Wales police are now far more visible on Cronulla Beach, and locals will tell you that it's about time. That Middle Eastern gangs have been picking fights with them for years and getting away with it. Police acknowledge there has been escalating tension, but there isn't an ethnic breakdown of local crime, so evidence is largely anecdotal.
I was with my friend Chris, the guy I live with, and these two people were just walking through Cronulla Mall, and these two people of, Lebanese or Middle Eastern appearance, whatever, they just said, what are you looking at? Kind of wanted to fight us. And they said, meet us down at North Cronulla, and we'll punch on, pretty much. It didn't say that, but that's what they wanted. Yeah. So we went down there earlier, and we had heaps of friends and people there, and all of a sudden these carloads of these Lebanese people turned up with their weapons and bats and things, and it just got ridiculously out of hand. There was police everywhere, and didn't go too far because the police presence was so strong, but it's quite serious.
And when was that?
That was probably about 5-6 years ago.
There has been issues and there has been assaults reported, and police have taken quite stern action in the local area there. But I think the fact that every time the police have been called to the beach, that they haven't dragged off in caged trucks, groups of Middle Eastern males. It's a matter of the police having the evidence, prosecuting people, but each of the times that police have been called to the beach down there, they've done the action.
On Sunday, December the 4th last year, police were called down to the beach following an ugly assault. The incident led the news in Sydney on Channel 7 and 10. Here's Channel 9.
A major police hunt is underway for a cowardly group of up to 20 men who attacked 2 surf lifesavers at Cronulla. Both young men had to be treated in hospital for severe cuts and bruising.
For many, this was not just a brutal crime, but an act of sacrilege. Young volunteer surf lifesavers bashed while giving up their weekend to help others.
How the thing was broken up, I don't know.
Sydney Radio 2GB on Monday morning.
Bruising. Bill, hello?
Alan, I just saw some snippet on News Channel 9 of the horrendous bashing, or if you like, gang attack on the beach at Cronulla yesterday. I mean, what type of grubs do we have in this?
What kind of grubs? Well, I tell you what kind of grubs this lot were. This lot were Middle Eastern grubs.
There we go.
You're not allowed to say it, but I'm saying it.
Well, Alan...
The surfies at Cronulla were talking about it too. The bare facts are these. 3 volunteer lifesavers were leaving the beach having finished their patrol. They were not in uniform. There was a verbal altercation with a group of what the locals call Lebs, with provocative insults from both sides. The lifesavers were bashed. But these are the rumours that were spreading around.
They were playing soccer, I think, and they kicked the ball at some girls and started harassing the girls, and the lifesavers asked them to stop. Standard thing happens all the time down here, and they didn't like it, and a fight broke out.
Well, I heard that the lifeguards saved like a Muslim lady, and because they touched her, the Muslim men bashed them. But I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard.
There was 2 lifeguards that on duty, they just got picked on and just apparently bashed,
If I were to tell you that they weren't actually on patrol and they weren't actually in their uniform, would that make any difference to you?
No, not really.
By 9:30 the morning after, people were talking vigilante payback.
People around the area are getting quite annoyed at them.
They'll take the law into their own hands.
It's going to become a vigilante matter sooner or later.
That's it, they'll take the law into their own hands.
Just escalation.
Text messages started appearing on mobile phones around the Shire, fixing the following Sunday as the date for retaliation. What did the first text message say, the one that you said you responded to?
It said something like, this goes out to all Aussie brothers and sisters and stuff. Come down to Cronulla. I actually said for Wog and Leb bashing day, but I didn't agree with that.
It's just that one text message that got sent. Basically, everyone who received it agreed with it and called up all their friends, and it's just like, you're coming down, you're coming down. It basically just spread, and I don't know how it spread to people to Queensland. I think that got around by the news.
Once it started coming out in the papers, we knew it was going to be a big day, definitely. It was going to be a big gathering, but to know what was going to happen that day was too hard to predict. It's just, let's just go down and see what happens.
And the fact that the message said it's Bash a Leb and Wog Day, didn't cross your mind that that's what might happen when you got there?
No, not really. Like, yeah, it kind of did. Like, but I mean, then again, it's too hard to predict.
Sunday morning was overcast when people started rolling in. The police had patrol boats out in the water and choppers in the air. Mark got there early and first thing bought himself a slab of beer.
Peace in Cronulla.
What time of the day was that?
Probably about 8 o'clock in the morning. And went back to my mate's house, had like a couple of drinks, and then we walked down. Everyone had alcohol, and the police it didn't bother the police at all, so I went up, got my alcohol, started drinking some more.
I got down there at about 10 o'clock. There was probably about 1,000 people there already, and there was lots of alcohol down there. Heaps of cars, there was barbecue going. It didn't really look like everyone was there to fight. Like, everyone was sort of there like to celebrate. Like, it was sort of like a stray day, like everyone was celebrating.
Did you wear any Australian flag or anything like that?
I had an Australian flag around me. I had 2 Australian tattoos here and 2 on my arms.
And what'd you wear that for? What did you?
Because basically I shouldn't feel as though I'm not allowed to wear that. I shouldn't feel like, I better not wear that, I'm going to probably get shot. Like, I shouldn't have to feel like that. This is Australia.
Sarah is posing here with her friend. Mark, in the long brown bandana, wore a flag too. Luke turned up around midday. He's there singing at the centre of this group. When you were down there on the day, did you see many extremist groups like Australia First, Patriotic Youth League? Did you see many people like that?
It wasn't a majority. Definitely there was that presence, yeah.
Do you feel they hijacked the day?
No. I think everyone had a right to be there on that day.
What was the first sign for you that something might be going wrong? Or
Well, it started out at the wall at Cronulla, and that's where all the barbecues and everyone was around just kind of partying, And then all of a sudden it was just just saw the crowd just start running.
A young man of Middle Eastern appearance had been spotted coming off the beach.
And I was up on the wall and there's just thousands of people running. So I started running, it was just fun, running in a crowd or whatever. Yeah, and we got down there and everyone was just chanting stuff, yelling out things, and the cameras everywhere.
Where did you get him?
The cameras just caught this vision of the young man being knocked to the ground outside Northy's pub. One of the onlookers got a better view.
Darkish looking fella, he come running across from the park and just everyone was just running towards him. He's dived in the Northies to drag him out, and then they just started, one bloke come over the glass barricade there and they just got in him and the cops picked him up in about 5 seconds.
I got a few photos taken, I think. I think it was on the news a fair bit. It's pretty funny.
Around 2 p.m, another 2 targets were spotted in the park.
It did shock me in the park when them 2 boys got attacked, but on the TV it made out as if they were poor innocent little kids. Like they were, but they were being smart asses. And I know like everyone was being like not racist, but everyone was saying like Aussie, 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 making them say it. And then someone screamed out, "Oh, all you wogs go back to where you came from." And then one of them turned around and said, "Oh, hey, I'm wog, but I'm down here supporting Australia."
That's more fair too, mate. That's more fair. I was born here. Get the fuck out of here, mate!
And then, you're around a massive bunch of drunk people who are willing to fight. And then basically, a lot of people just smash them.
Sort of portrayed them as going to the beach, but they had shoes and socks on. They didn't have a towel with them, and they walked right through the middle of what was an angry mob of youth at that time. But I thought it would probably get the reaction that they desired to get,
which was
to get the media on side and to turn it from something that was about the beach as a safe place into something that was a race issue, which I don't think it was at all.
I never saw anyone get hit or punched. Definitely not. Actually, I think I saw that when the car sped off and I started throwing the bottles and stuff. I think I saw that. I saw the car just boot away. That's the only thing I saw.
Inside the car were 2 students from Bangladesh. Their car had been surrounded, but they'd managed to get away.
Lucky they got away because they would have got... there was that many people there.
Throughout the day, there'd been rumours around that hundreds, maybe 600 people were coming by train from the west to Cronulla to take up the fight. At around 3 p.m, just 2 young men of Middle Eastern appearance arrived at Cronulla station. This was the crowd that greeted them. Do you think people were looking for a fight?
Oh, definitely, yeah. There's a lot of people looking for a fight there. I think the mentality of the Middle Eastern groups that come down there is they're in a big group, so they can overpower anyone on the beach. So pretty much what all the Aussies were doing is getting in a big group and just taking it back to them their way.
At the centre of the mob was Ali Hashimi. He's an Afghan born in Russia.
They were saying that, oh, stupid rebels, go back to your country, you don't belong here, this is our country. And then the officers came in and started cleaning all of them up.
You go home, you fucking filthy cunts, because we're gonna fuck you up next time, you understand that? Look at that shit, motherfucker!
But mate, I just had a broken nose and all my back was bruised, on my head, lump everywhere.
I actually felt really sorry for the people that got taken out that day, because they got nothing to do with it. It was the wrong target. These people have done nothing wrong. They just came down to the beach. It's actually quite shameful.
By the end of the day, 26 people had been treated for injuries. 2 of them were ambulance officers, assaulted as they took the wounded to hospital. "16 people were arrested, more than half of them were locals."
It was the wrong way to go about it, but nothing else is going to stop it. Basically, that was just everyone's way of saying piss off.
Good evening. It started out as a show of numbers by locals wanting to protect Cronulla. But by mid-afternoon, it had turned into scenes not seen before in Sydney. Angry mobs fuelled by alcohol turning on individuals because of their ethnic background.
Here, officers are pelted with beer bottles as they help one would-be victim into a police car.
In the late afternoon and evening, images from the riot dominated the TV news.
It was out of control.
After we watched the news at 5 o'clock throughout the day, throughout the evening, we saw the images of what happened in Cronulla. Everyone was shattered. I mean, like, people were like almost in tears. They were just angry or horrified by the whole situation.
A lot of the youth was saying that, well, is this what people think about us? Is this how they thought about us? You know, we knew there was racism, but we never knew it was to this extent.
I mean, all your life you've been raised to be Australian. I mean, you carry the Australian flag, and when you go to sports events and all that, you're happy to be Australian and all that. And all of a sudden, people reject you. Go home. They shout your names, or go home, you Middle Eastern, Lebs, whatever. Go home. I mean, that's a shock to us. Go home. I mean, that like, you get cut inside, though, your heart. You know, like, you feel like you're not part of society anymore.
Yeah. I will say about that. Now they've really are cool.
Iyad Diab lives in the southwestern suburb of Punchbowl. He's studying law. Like his friend Abdul Nemra, he's been going for picnics and swims at Cronulla Beach all his life. Neither has ever been in any trouble with the law. But on Sunday night, straight after watching the TV news, some of their friends went down to Punchbowl Park.
I call 4. 7 meals a day.
Tell me, what's the deal with Punchbowl Park?
Just the heart of the community. Like, that's where everyone goes if there's a problem, and you know what I mean. It's like, it's known. It's a park where everyone grew up in that like around the area. So yeah, so everyone just has a natural instinct. When something happens, you go to Punchbowl Park, and yeah.
And that's what happened on the Sunday night?
Yeah.
Did you go down to Punchbowl Park?
No, I have a mother. She said to me, don't get involved. Being raised very closely by my mother, I respect her word, respect her opinion. I chose not to.
Because what did you think was going to happen there?
Well, it wasn't going to be good. You know, you don't go down in the pitch black of darkness to debate ways of bringing people to peace and stopping the issue and saying, hey, let's try and show a positive image or do something positive. No, you don't do that in the darkness of night.
A young man we know only as Ali also watched the TV news on Sunday night.
I feel angry. I feel uncomfortable. Like I feel unsafe. And when I watch the TV, like it hurt me. Like it hurt everyone. So we've got to do something about it. Like everyone started talking to each other, sending SMS. Like You know, man, let's get involved because look, there's 5,000 of them against 3 of them. Like, it's unfair. So everyone got together and started talking then, and yeah.
And then what?
I just started to fight and I started a war.
Did people go down to Punchbowl Park that night?
Yeah, they go to Punchbowl Park, meet up, and have a talk and chat like we're going to do, sort of things, and we go down.
Ali says there were around 100 people there and that he saw no police. At around 9 p.m, he left and joined a convoy of more than 40 cars headed for the beaches.
No, yeah, we drove down there. And yeah,
why?
To get revenge.
They had to respond. If you don't respond to that situation, what's going to happen is that your mum, your sisters and all that, they're going to be scared to walk in the street. Because if they're going to walk in the street and then there's no one there to protect them, they're going to be scared. So you have to react to that situation. I don't know, I'm not saying it's correct they did. I'm against innocent people getting hit and all that, but you can't just sit there and just take it. I mean, you got to respond to that situation and protect yourself.
Yeah.
Ali says he was angry about the assaults, but also about insults to his religion, printed up on T-shirts. This one was the most offensive.
Like, we wear a strict religion, no matter worse, for themselves.
By what, the T-shirts or the...
By what they write in the T-shirts and all those other kind of things.
Things about?
My religion and swearing to our God.
Knowing your community, what did you expect in terms of reaction to what happened at Cronulla?
Well, look,
John Richardson is the local area commander.
I don't know that I really could say I expected this or that to happen. I guess I was just planning for the worst and hoping for the best.
You didn't think, well, look, young men out here aren't going to take that lying down?
Again, look, it was just something that I thought I needed to be mindful of in those early stages.
Did anyone go down to Punchbowl Park that night to check out if people were meeting there?
There wouldn't have been any reason for that.
No? It's not a known meeting ground?
Not to my knowledge, no.
It's not a known meeting ground?
No.
Young men in the area say that it is, that when something's going to happen, you don't even need to ring up your mates. You just go there.
Is that right?
One marked police car was sent down to Punchbowl Park after the duty officer got calls that people were gathering. The officer at the park noted down rego numbers as fast as he could, but the cars drove off. As it turned out, many of them were headed for Maroubra. It's a beachside suburb north of Cronulla and home to the Bra Boys surfy gang, whose leader had bragged earlier in the week that they knew how to deal with ethnic gangs. There was still a lot of police in Cronulla, so a convoy of cars took a message to Maroubra. Tell us why Maroubra.
Maroubra want to get involved because Cronulla sent them the message, come and get involved, help us out. So, like, we went down there to show them, like, you know, and they get involved. So
to give them a message?
Like, you give them a message, like, don't get involved at all, so they don't get involved at all.
Like, if you get involved, this is what will happen?
Yeah, that's what happens, yeah.
That Sunday night, Tim was at home in Maroubra when he heard the sound of breaking glass. At first he thought it was a party down the road, getting out of hand, but then he and his flatmate went outside to check.
There was a stream of cars that I would, off the top of my head, say probably 30 or 40, many of whom were full, you know, had 4 passengers. Probably 40 to 50 people on foot, running quickly, holding bars, holding bats, some of whom were yelling. I was struck from behind, and I heard my flatmate cry out. And she had gotten a baseball bat to the head, and while she was down, another assailant had come from behind and kicked her. And when I got to where I could see her, she was getting back to her feet, and she still wasn't answering. She was holding her head in both of her hands, and in the streetlight I could see that there was blood starting to come from between her fingers.
Did you think about whether or not the people that you might get revenge against were the same people that might have done it?
Like, we wanted to get the same people. Like, it's too hard, you can't find them, so we done it. So other people. So they hit innocent people, like they went there, and so we might as well do the same thing.
The convoy of cars continued down Marine Parade to the beach, while Tim took his flatmate to hospital.
It's funny, going up Malabar Road towards Prince of Wales Hospital, where we went, out of the sight of my vision, I notice there are bodies on the ground, and my initial, nanosecond response was, oh my God, someone's died. And then I saw that it was the police, and they had people sort of down on their bellies with their hands behind. But across the road from them was a car that was in flames. And there was such an element of, where have I been transported to? What demilitarized zone am I in?
Police were pulling over young men of Middle Eastern appearance, taking their photos and searching them for weapons in and around Maroubra. But much of the damage had already been done. By the end of the night, around 60 cars had been smashed, slashed or battered. People were attacked in Cronulla, Maroubra and Woolooware. This man was stabbed in the back. New South Wales police are now on the defensive. I just wondered if you can answer specifically the question of why weren't the cars in the convoys pulled over?
I don't know. Simply, I'm telling you now that police out there were stopping hundreds of cars, hundreds of people throughout those 2 days of both Middle Eastern and Caucasian extractions. Yes, there is convoys of cars that got in and caused that damage. That is something that we're investigating.
Lakemba Mosque is the focal point of Islamic faith in Sydney. Directly over the road is the Lebanese Muslim Association. Its president is Ahmed Kamaluddin. The morning after the Cronulla riots, he was worried. He'd also seen the footage of the revenge attacks.
Staff meeting for Monday. Look, I mean, I looked at the footage on television just like anyone else did. And to have... it's actually quite shocking for me to see an anger in particular person to, to show it in such a way. It's really, really savage.
We had a lot of people calling to abuse.
Already there were wild rumours spreading fast by SMS, stirring up further anger within the Muslim youth.
A lot of people just crying on the phone. We had one lady call up and say, look, I had an SMS. It wasn't actually to her phone, it was to her son's phone, that a young woman had died, a young Muslim woman had died at Cronulla. She had apparently suffered some injuries, which as a result she died from. Now, she called up to confirm this, and we said very clearly no. If anything, this rumour is going around to sort of gain attention of the community to say you should be angry.
Yeah, a lot of people got that message. I guess it's not a justification for actually doing the violence, but it just added to the heat of the moment. And when you're angry and you do want to release some frustration, I guess you don't ask for the evidence or proof of the actual death, or you don't ask for a death certificate or anything like that.
In the early evening, a crowd started gathering outside the Lakemba Mosque as another rumour spread that some group, some said the Bra Boys, were coming to bomb the mosque.
The thing is, people say don't listen to the rumours, they don't come true in that. But what happened to Cronulla when it first happened, that was a rumour and it actually happened, so people didn't want it to happen again, so everyone just rushed to the mosque, just left straight away. And I actually was one of the first people to go down there. Everyone was down there, no matter who you are. If you're a student, if you're a loyal employee, whoever you are, from all walks of life, you were down there. It wasn't people that thugs. Thugs went down there, everyone was down there.
The rumour was false, But we were told there had been loose talk at the Maroubra pub. It's been reported to us by someone who was in the Maroubra pub that some of the young hotheads were talking about going out and attacking Lakemba Mosque on the Monday night.
I got no doubt they did. Right. We're talking about teenagers here. We're talking about people that during the day and night drink alcohol. We're talking about people that associate themselves with the name Bra Boys that are not part of the Bra Boys. We're talking about people that come to Maroubra that are not residents of the area.
Religious leaders persuaded many of those who came early to the mosque to come inside and pray.
We prayed, got up, prayed again. Then, while we were praying the second prayer, noise could be heard from the outside, people gathering around.
Outside, the gathering had reached the thousands. Emotion was still high about the riot at Cronulla, fed by the rumours of an attack on the mosque. The police had closed off the area to cars, but people kept arriving.
The mood was very, very tense. When I was there, it wasn't just Arabs, it wasn't just like Lebanese. There were like a whole heap of other ethnic type groups, you know, like Italians, Greeks, they were there as well.
And they're all concerned about that the mosque is under a siege. But there was a few people who wanted to, you know, make some trouble and what's happened and so forth, and they were shouting.
Religious and community leaders tried to shout above the crowd, go into the mosque or go home, with mixed success.
I mean, seriously, they were doing the best. They were shouting, people screaming at us, don't do this, don't do that. They tried the best, but there's too many people out there. And
then it just, these little stupid idiots just filtered out of the crowd and decided to maybe move away from what the religious people were saying, just because, you know, they didn't want to hear it because they were too angry to hear it. I mean, I was asked to come to mosque, hey, you coming down with us? I go, where to? Cronulla. I go, I don't even know you. So the thing is, they're not even gangs. I mean, they don't know each other, and they're going down together. So everyone just knew each other at that night.
Did it cross your mind to say yes?
I'm studying a law degree, so I can't do no trouble. I'll never go down there because it's not worth it.
While police were focusing on controlling the crowd at Lakemba Mosque, those who wanted action were meeting again, 5 minutes away at Punchbowl Park. Ali was there again and says that the crowd was bigger than the night before, well over 100, mostly aged between 17 and 25. And did you see any police?
I seen it, yeah, just one car drive past slowly. And people just getting angry, and like the angriest and start throwing rocks, everything at the car.
At the police car?
Yeah.
And what did the car do?
Just drive off.
Get this no swing back here for repent.
This amateur video from that Monday night shows the youths who were set on reprisal in action later, outside the BP station in Cronulla. It's hard to make out who they are. By the end of the night, there was a familiar tally of cars smashed, shops trashed, people attacked. Have you been asked by the police at all to assist in identifying anyone who may have gone down to Cronulla?
Not at all. And why would they?
Because they're trying to find people who might know anyone from the 200 or so cars that went down there.
Well, I just said to you earlier that the people that I can identify would be mosque goers, would be regular attendees of the mosque. And anyone who is a regular attendant of the mosque would not do such a behaviour.
This graphic footage is from a CCTV camera. It shows the mob at work. you feel bad about going down there at all?
No, I don't feel bad.
Why not?
Because I want to get my a revenge.
A lot of the youth have resorted to what we call the ghetto mentality, right, where we feel comfortable in this zone and we'll just stick to this zone, you know, because deep down they knew that there's a lot of racism and that just confirmed their racism, and now it's just a matter of time where it just explodes even further.
Australia Day in Cronulla, and Australian flags are out again in force. The police are here in numbers as well, but 6 weeks after the riotous events, it's all quiet now. The locals are overall pleased.
Aussie, mate, he's an Aussie. I think there's a lot of shame as far as the riots actually happened, you know. But as far as peace and that, it's all come back, and I think it's a good thing, you know. So, well, at least we've got our beaches back, but as long as everybody's happy about it, that's the main thing.
Lebanese Australians still coming down here?
There's not as many. But it is a free place, and that's their decision.
Some of the locals have put a lot of effort into encouraging ethnic communities back to the beach and encouraging local surfies to get involved in reconciliation. But what happens when you approach people and say, look, I've been asked to be involved in this reconciliation process, when you give me a hand?
They say, do you know how scared I was on that Monday night? Or they say, you know, I'm afraid to go out of my front door at night, you know, to get into my car. They say, why? I don't want anything to do with these people.
A lot of the people down in Cronulla now are saying they're not so into reconciliation and making up because what happened after was worse than what happened on the day.
What I say is the person that instigates the fight is the person to blame the most. If you start the trouble, if you fire the first bullet, that's the most devastating.
What about reconciling? I mean, a lot of groups have put some effort down here into reconciliation.
Sure. But I mean, it's the monster's just going to go somewhere else. It'll rear its head somewhere else. There's always going to be that threat, and I think that paranoia will become part of society forever, like as far as I can see. And I think that's here to stay.
And what threat? What is the threat you're talking about?
Terrorism, you know. It's terrorism.
I think making up's the only solution. Otherwise, it's just going to keep escalating and just get worse and worse. Something definitely. I mean, I can't even see how it'll happen now, but something's definitely got to be done.
So what has been done? Offenders have been prosecuted, laws have been toughened, New South Wales Police have been given extra powers. But senior police say this will not address the underlying issues that bred the ugly violence we all saw.
There's many social reasons beyond the issues to do with the New South Wales Police and law enforcement issues. This is a deep social issue and a new phenomenon of racial violence in Australia that poured out on the beaches that day.
So there's no use trying to, you know, play things down. People are just kidding themselves. They have to understand there are issues, there are real issues, and if they're not addressed, things are going to get worse. This is just like a bit of a yardstick.
You can watch additional extended interviews about Cronulla and read the transcript of tonight's program at abc.net.au/Four Corners.
A lot to be responsible for.
I'd go to work and tell people that I went to it, and they're like, "Oh, you're a racist person," which is not the fact at all.
I'm not a racist person at all. Nothing against them, but they're always down there to cause fights.
They forget that they moved here and they brought their culture with them, and they've got to adapt to our culture.
Hey, stop it!
There have been turf wars for decades on Cronulla Beach between locals and outsiders about who owns the beach. But Mark and his friends say this time it's different.
Hey!
because they say the Lebs are different. They pose a threat.
The religious side of it is definitely a big part. The way they're brought up and the way we're brought up. Just the way the morals our parents teach us and the morals their parents teach us are completely different.
What's different about the way they're brought up?
I think it's got to do a lot with respect for women.
I can't go to the beach normally and wear what I'd usually wear, because when I do, I feel as though I'm getting targeted. Like people saying to me, like just names and stuff that I'm being called for wearing a bikini in my own show. Like, I've grown up here and I'm local at the beach, and I just don't think I should feel like that. It's just been getting worse and worse and worse.
Sarah's boyfriend Mark is concerned because he thinks that under Muslim law it's okay to rape. He's wrong and confused about a pack rape case 4 years ago where the ringleader was Lebanese-Australian Bilal Scuff.
I don't know if you remember, but when they were being tried in the court, they wanted him to be tried in an Islamic court. Do you remember that? No, yeah, because they wanted him to be tried under Islamic law, because they were saying that that's okay to do that to a woman.
To rape someone?
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
I want government to stop the growing threat, and I want them to stop appeasing Islam and to stop appeasing people that follow Islam.
They'll probably possibly outbreed us, and once they get the numbers, they can vote their members into Parliament. And once their members are in Parliament, they can pass laws like we've already tried to get.
Cronulla, the locals will tell you, is the most beautiful of Sydney's city beaches. A long curved stretch in the southern Sutherland Shire with regular rolling surf. It's also the most accessible to the southwestern suburbs of Sydney, with a direct train line to the beach.
Got the surrounding suburbs like Bankstown, Hurstville, Lakemba. They're all west, and they're also connected by the train line that goes into Cronulla. Also, that's their local beach as well. And like pretty much out there, it's a lot of Middle Eastern culture. It's definitely, there's a lot of Middle Eastern people out there, from Lebanon, wherever.
Mark's group of friends are all from the Shire, born and bred.
Oh no, look at this stuff. It's terrible.
They got the SMS about bashing a Leb on a WOG day, and all of them went along. They want to talk about why they went, but they've asked us not to use their real names. They're afraid of retribution, baffled and defensive, because people have called them racist.
We can't make a call on it because we get branded racists, and that's why the media and a lot of other things have.
The following Four Corners contains coarse language and some violent scenes.
This was the scene at Cronulla in Sydney on December the 11th last year. Nobody organised this rally, but the following text message had been sent to hundreds of mobile phones. This Sunday, every fucking Aussie in the Shire get down to North Cronulla to help support Leb and WOG Bashing Day. Bring your mates down and let's show them that this is our beach and they're never welcome back. 5,000 people turned up. Do you think people were looking for a fight?
Oh, definitely, yeah. There was a lot of people looking for a fight there.
Get this no swing.
That night and the following night, under the cover of darkness, carloads of angry young men drove from the western suburbs to the beaches in and around Cronulla, smashing, bashing and stabbing. Do you feel bad about going down there at all?
No, I don't feel bad.
Why not?
Because I want to get my a revenge.
Tonight, a confronting four corners. The inside story of Cronulla and the aftermath, told by those who were there for the riot and revenge.